Motivation. I'm motivated. But what do you do when motivation is not enough? You rely on your work ethic. You rely on your discipline. That's mentality. Now let's get it.
To the stage, please welcome Julian Peters.
What's going on, everybody? This is Julian back with Mentality Podcast. For those listening, welcome back to my voice. For those watching, say hello to my beautiful face. I'm back. And today's special guest is a return participant, big bro, El Cabro, Ryan Hinton. How's it going, man?
El Cabro, man. Thanks for having me back, bro. You know, I couldn't wait.
For sure. We got some very good topics to discuss. But first, how's life, man? How's everything going?
Good, man. Good. Summer had been as hot as it normally is in Louisiana, so that's always good. You know,
so, with me moving to Arizona now, bro, like I get why people say like, oh, that's dry heat. It really is, bro. It be hot, but it don't be humid like Oklahoma or Missouri. Like, and I'm like, I see the difference. It be hot though, but not like
right. That. Like when we were at dinner the other night,
yeah,
it was like 93 or something like that. We're sitting outside, like no problem.
Not at all. Yeah, bro. So that's always fun. So, and then we've had some pretty good showings from teammates these last couple of weeks.
Yep, some pro cards. Got Olympia qual, which we had that one before, but yeah. So I think we had 3 or 4 pro cards in July. So good month.
Yeah, I'm uploading right now as we speak. Conversation with one of the pro card winners, Rachel Spanos. Yep.
Good people right there.
And then next week I got her and the husband coming on.
Oh, y'all doing a couples thing.
Talk about that experience. So
they're a cool couple, man.
For sure. So all right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. The first topic that I want to discuss is something that I think I've had to have a reality check on myself, which is what's more important, proving your supporters right or your haters wrong. I think it's a mindset. I think it's a mentality and it's approach that I would argue some people have wrong. So what do you think?
Man, you know what? First thing that came to mind is you stay true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Those things will fall. Both of them will fall in place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Doesn't matter. You can be the sweetest Georgia peach. Some people just don't like Georgia peaches.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could be. I know people. The best pastors in the world. People are like, "Yo, he's a crook." I see right through it. And other people are like, "What are you talking about? He saved my life, my family, my neighborhood, my community. They've done so much." So I think you stay true to yourself and your purpose. Those things fall in place. So your people will back you based off of your purpose.
Right.
And your haters, your doubters, they will always look for something, a reason, anything to discredit you. So as long as you are working in your purpose, the haters, they may not be quiet because there's always going to be somebody talking, but they will look real stupid in the process. And most of them don't care anyway.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So like I try to, correlate things or compare things or whatever to sports because that's what I've been around. That's what I know. That's what I do. And so you look at like LeBron James, arguably, I don't care where you want to place him. He's top 3 in all time in the NBA, like all time. But there's some things that LeBron does that like simply because he might be on par with Jordan, that conversation might actually be who's the better out of the two. People just hate him for no reason. Like they literally, oh, he lost the finals in this. Well, he got 4 championships. Yeah, but he lost this many championships. He can't do this. He can't do that. He can't shoot. He can't do that. And I'm just like, what does this man got to do, bro? He getting ready to lead the league, possibly in scoring all time, be top 10 in rebounds and top 10 in assists, possibly. Arguably the greatest career we've ever seen. There's still people no matter what, they're going to hate on LeBron James. So, like, if you're looking at a guy like LeBron, or you're looking at a guy, you know, like a Tom Brady or something like that, what ends up happening is if you're constantly trying to prove your haters wrong, you end up never satisfied, because, like you said, they're never going to stop hating.
Ever.
So it's basically a journey you're putting yourself on that probably has no end to it, because they're never going to stop hating. They still hating on Tom Brady. He just won a Super Bowl at 43 years old. Like,
yep.
With a different team, different coach.
And you know what? And the social media age too, man. It's even worse. So, you know, I was thinking about that conversation. I'm thinking, okay, before LeBron, we had Kobe, but we didn't have just Kobe. Like when we had Jordan, there was like no one else in the conversation. So before Jordan, who was the best? But what I'm saying is, it's talked about so much now with LeBron. I mean, I'm gonna say like the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. Who's the GOAT now? Mm-hmm. And it's talked about so much, you know, and like you said, they get so many people that hate him. They get into his personal life. I'm like, did they get into Kareem's personal life that much back then? Was it so much of, are we going to put so much emphasis on what they do in the community? I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I am saying that the things that I hear of why people don't like LeBron has nothing to do with basketball.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
So then you start, and I'm saying this is in leadership role in any position, you start asking people, wondering, where's this hate coming from? Because it sounds like it has nothing to do with the fundamentals of what they actually do.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
I preach.
Yeah. You're right about that. And again, like, if you don't realize that, you're just setting yourself up to go down the path. Like I keep saying, it's just endless. Like, you're not, I did it, bro. Like, I used to think having a chip on my shoulder and my coach didn't play me. Like, I played a whole basketball season my senior year at Oklahoma Wesleyan, pissed off at everybody. The reason was because when we were going through the off season, they decided to bring a point guard. I love this kid too, if he's watching this, but they decided to bring a point guard during the middle of our like practicing back. He had already graduated. They decided that I wasn't going to be good enough. So they went and got this kid from Tulsa who was sitting at home and said, hey, you want to come back? We'll give you scholarship, da-da-da-da-da. So I'm automatically disrespected. Like, are you, first of all, in my opinion, again, if he watches, I'm sorry to say this, he wasn't fucking better than me. So you're already wasting your time by bringing him back anyway. But I'm already disrespected because you brought him back thinking that I wasn't good enough to take it. So I took that as he never started a game. We'll put it like that. And I led my team in minutes. But I did that the whole season, pissed off. So I didn't really enjoy anything. And what I realized is, by me trying to prove that, you know, my coach was wrong and the people on the team that wanted him back was wrong, I was just hating, I didn't enjoy the game. And I brought more stress upon myself because I felt I had to perform way higher and I couldn't make a mistake. And so I played timid some games because I wasn't willing to take a risk because I was so worried about proving them wrong and keeping him over there. And it just, I don't think, like, looking back, I'm like, I held myself back by thinking so hard about I got to prove everybody wrong.
Right. Yes. Man, so much went through my head then, especially like at every level, you know, fans. And I'll go back to social media. Everybody has an opinion now that can be put on social. You could be a nobody with 200, 300, 400,000 followers that say, yeah, whatever you say is right. Right. Absolutely. Yep. He does suck. Yep. He is great. Yep. He's a cheater, you know. Yeah. He's he was given opportunity because of this, and he didn't deserve that. You know, it's always going to be something, man. And I think strong leaders, I think if you know why you're supposed to be there, that you put out that. No, I was thinking about, like, we talked about this before, like, man, what is it like to be a professional athlete in the social media age? Mm-hmm. You know,
bro, they would have.
You got all kind of stuff out there, like all kind of people just saying whatever. You know,
bro, they would have ripped Jordan to shreds if he was there in the Jordan. they would have ripped him to shreds,
Oh,
bro. All
yeah.
the gambling and all, oh my God, dog. They would have killed Jordan.
And that was cool back then. It wasn't even a problem.
Right.
Now you got all these people with irrelevant people with opinions.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like, I'm not gonna talk about it on here, but we talked about Kareem. No, not Kareem. Who we talk about? Basketball player. What he did while he was playing. This back in the 70s and 80s.
Oh. Yeah.
But it's cool.
Right.
Nowadays, it's like frowned upon, man. So
yeah,
social media. So yeah, I think unless you're gonna play that game, and even the high schoolers now, these high schoolers are hanging out with rappers, and like you got Drake at these high school basketball games. And man, it's crazy.
Right.
Right? And these high schools got 2 million followers and all this stuff, man.
And like you got grown men and women hating on these high school kids. Like if you read the comments, like even recently, LeBron James' son is at an AAU game. LeBron's sitting over there watching like he normally does, like a father should goddamn do. Number one, I don't care how big you are. And Bronny goes up for a layup or something, gets a foul call, and the DJ is like, "Oh, he got that call because he's Bron's son," in front of the entire gym. This kid is 15 years old, bro. Like, you're a grown man. And so LeBron got up and like walked over to the desk and was like, "Yo, don't do that." Like, and everybody made a big deal because Bron went and checked him. Like, no, that's what he's supposed to do. Like, you don't need to bring that type of, you know what I'm saying, light on a kid. He's 15. He's 16 years old, man. Like,
right.
But and if you read some of the comments, these people, they just, it's weird. It's weird too, but like I remember watching Rich Piana, and he said, "I don't really care." He said, "Because at the end of the day, you spent your time and energy to come to whatever I posted and write your comment under my video or my photo." He's like, think about that. He's like, people really get on the internet. They get on my Instagram just to write hate under my stuff. He's like, yet you're still viewing my stuff at the end of the day.
Facts. Straight up. And so, man, to anyone that has big aspirations, big dreams to, we see the shiny part, we don't see the dark side, right?
Right.
And let me not say the dark side, but people really need to understand, like, if you're going to be criticized. You will always, at however high you want to go, just understand there's going to be that many people that don't want to see you there.
Right.
And the only way to avoid that is to do nothing, be nothing. Do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. However it's saying goes. Do nothing, say nothing, be nothing.
Right.
And no one will talk about you. No one will have a problem with you. You're a homeless person on the side of the road, people won't really. But if you want to be great, I don't care who you are. Bro, do you know they have Mother Teresa hate groups?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do. It's going to happen. You just got to walk in your purpose.
Right. Yeah. And walking in your purpose is tough too, man, because like I think I even talked to you about it today. Walking in your purpose don't make it easier either. Like, it's bad days when you're walking in your purpose because you're walking in your purpose. Therefore, there's things I feel like, you can say that this is a spiritual thing, you can say this is a universe thing, whatever you want to put it. If you're walking in your purpose, I still feel like there's things that are sent to distract you, to get you off of what you're doing. Because like, if it's your purpose, that means it's meant for you to impact the world positively. Like, and the world just don't work like that. I know we wish it did, but it doesn't work like that easy. So like, I think people need to realize, yeah, I found what I'm passionate about. This is my purpose. Cool. But are you prepared for that purpose? Are you prepared for the highs and the lows of that purpose? What comes with that purpose? Because it ain't just, rainbows and sunshine. That's a responsibility that you are accepting, that you have to continue to push forward. And it's not easy.
And your purpose isn't for you.
No.
So yeah, you got to remember that. Like, I'm doing this for everyone, not just for me. Because if you do it for you, it won't last.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with that. And like, for instance, the purpose of this is to give like people the opportunity to hear other people's stories, right? To get some type of inspiration or maybe relate to somebody and pull them out of a situation or help them keep going through something. And that's the purpose, which I think that I've been giving the gift to do so and help people do. But like you said, if my purpose was I need to make money and get rich off this, I'd be done. Like I would have been done like 5 months ago because
Right.
It's not happening. But even I'm in a rut today, you guys, and I'm like, yo, I'm done. Like I'm sick of this. I'm not getting what I want. And literally got a message from somebody that was a positive message about how he, really enjoys the podcast, everything. And that gave me the energy to know that, okay, one person's impacted. So this is what the purpose is. You still got to keep going, even though it's not the most glamorous time period for me in the podcast.
Right. But that was that reminder.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Now that you said that, I had a reminder myself.
Yep.
I was on a plane and it's not new, but I think I was just scrolling for a name in my phone book and I just saw a name and I'm like, who is this? And I clicked on our text message history. Just crazy how it popped up. And I started reading. It was the last message I had from this person. Well, when I started reading, I realized what it was. So 2 years ago, there was a lady that contacted me on social media about coaching, joining the team. She said her health was okay, but she had to check some things. She wasn't sure yet, but she did have a friend that she was referring to me out of Australia. He ends up joining the team. I think we did a couple shows together. This is 2019-ish. Still never met the guy. So 2021, early 2021, he hit me up and he goes, hey, man, I'm not so sure if you heard. And he mentioned her name and he said, have you talked? Did you hear? And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, she passed away. She lost her battle with cancer. He was like, and I was like, when? He's like, this is like 6 months ago, but I wasn't following her. I didn't know her well. We had this contact, like I said, in 2019. And then I was remembering she was always commenting on my story on the athletes, very supportive, watching everybody on Team Legacy, saying she can't wait to join the team. She actually contacted girls personally. Was just like, I can't wait, to see so-and-so compete. I can't wait to see you compete. She'd come back to me saying, good luck to her. I'll be watching her. So excited. Well, I came across our last text message in 2019. She said, good afternoon, Ryan. Not great news, but I think my competing years are over with. I'm just about to start chemo and radiation, and I was diagnosed with lung cancer. I think that explains why I've not been feeling so well since the new year. This is July of 2019. I will admire from afar, and who knows, but for now, it's prayers and love. Thank you for accepting me on Team Legacy. That in itself made me so happy. Continue to look after my buddy. Kick his butt hard. He's so stubborn. That was our last message. That was probably a little over a year before she passed, and I had no clue. But for me, man, not only did it break my heart, but it was also that reminder like, hey, people are watching you. It doesn't matter. You don't realize the impact that you have on people for whatever you're doing. I never met the lady, nothing. Didn't talk. And so that was so powerful for me. I may or may not have a little breakdown, had a little breakdown the first time I read that, but.
Yeah, me, that don't matter to me. We do that.
Man.
Well, grown men do that. We have breakdowns. I would have broke down if I would have that, especially during that time. But yeah, it's just crazy, man. Like influence and impact are not as glamorous a lifestyle as people think. I think social media has played a part in that because you hear the word influence, I'm an influencer, and you automatically associate that with the 500,000 followers or the sponsors or that's not impact. yes, those people are impacting. Yes, those people are influencing. But like if we're a community, like we say, influence can be on any scale. Like I could walk outside right now. It could be some little kid who's been watching me, and that's an impact and an influence. I just think that we've let social media dictate what that means, and it's on a level of how many likes, views, comments you're getting, and
Right.
it's caused a lack of authenticity within us truly influencing and impacting because we're raking it on a scale that's just not. Don't get me wrong, that scale is important. Like that's how people make money. I'm not hating on that, but is it really realistic as people think? Not everybody's gonna have that big of a following and that big of, but if you're really in your purpose, like you say, that shouldn't matter.
Should matter.
And
Correct.
eventually, if you're in your purpose and you're hopefully you're good at what you're doing within that purpose, there's gonna be some success to come eventually. You just got to keep grinding.
It's not up to you when that comes, right?
Right. Which is stupid. But yeah.
That's the 3 feet from gold.
Yeah. Yep.
What we got?
So the next one, we're talking about how we respond to adversity. This one in my life has been probably one of the most important things and important life lessons I've learned. I would say in a big majority part of my life. Because if you know Julian, you know that I am a speak first, think later. I'm a very defensive person. I'm aggressive as well. But during a certain event within my life that has recently happened, I understood, I feel like what God was telling me, which is sometimes the biggest test, guys, isn't what we're going through. Like it's not the test, it's not the obstacle that's hit you in your face. It's how you respond to it. I would argue that this is the example I'll give. Okay. People get angry and upset and they lash out and they argue and they're screaming and they're doing stuff, right? And people say, oh, that's without their character. That was just upset. They're just upset, right? Okay. Let's unpack that, because when somebody gets drunk and they make a mistake, the first thing you hear people say ain't, oh, he was drunk. It's normally the culprit who says that. But the response is, yeah, but that was really you. When you drink, it uncovers what you really do and how you really feel, right? You've heard that. Facts. So why is it not the same when somebody gets angry?
It is.
But nobody sees it that way. Nobody sees it that way.
Yeah.
So that's why responding to me has been so important, because now you're seeing what a person's really made of and what their true character is. In my position, I didn't respond. I didn't get petty. Guys, I could have. And when I talk about what I went through, you'll understand why. I could have got petty. I could have blasted. I could have exposed. I could have talked my talk. I could have messaged whoever I wanted to. I could have been that asshole. I most definitely could have. But I had a bigger purpose within my life, and I responded to it way with a lot of professionalism, I feel like, with the mature aspect. And I know I'm better because of that. But some of y'all can't do that.
It's not for everyone. It's not. You know, how many, we will always talk about sports. How many athletes do we know have seen come through high school or come through college or just JUCO, but they never could have? Oh man, this dude would have been better than Peter Ward. This dude would have been better than Michael. This dude was better than Randy Moss, but we don't know who they are.
Never heard of
because they went through some adversity and they didn't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And most people just shut down. And when I say shut down, that doesn't necessarily mean do nothing, but they just respond in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. You know, and we'll never know those people. Like the world will never know those people. We know, we've all experienced that, right? And it's on every scale in every industry.
Yeah,
it is how you respond.
I would like prime example. Yesterday, my friend Caitlin down here, she's preparing for North America's. I think that's the next one coming up, like 5 or 6 weeks from now. It wasn't a last minute decision. She's already in really good shape. Like she stays in good shape year round, but she's a bigger girl as far as the bikini division goes. So she's a bikini competitor. So like she's holding back, putting on muscle. and she just went through a divorce like I did. She was on the show too, so went through a divorce like I did. But she was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So her and her coach agreed, and they started prep. And she came out yesterday and was like, guys, my body's just not responding right now. Like with the moving, everything I'm going through, I'm just not responding. I talked to my coach. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this show. She's like, but I'm gonna keep working. She's like, I'm going to the gym right now. Like, I'm going to keep pushing. I just don't know if we're going to be able to do it. So we might have to figure out the next step. To me, that's what we're talking about. Because I see a lot of people, and I probably did this myself. I can't remember specifically, but like your show gets canceled, COVID year. How did you respond to that? Did you sit on your ass and just start eating a whole bunch of stuff and be like, oh, well, I'm done this year. COVID's canceled. Or did you keep on your diet, even though the gym is not open? You walk outside, you might pick up a couple of tricks, figure out whatever you can. Now, the reason I say that is because those who responded correctly to that adversity are the ones who got pro cards last year because they had enough in them to keep going. Wow. And you weeded out your competition just by the mental fortitude that you showed.
That's it.
Like literally, it was people who you could probably 100% say were way better than you, but because you were able to respond and they weren't, you beat them before you got on stage.
You showed up. Not to the competition. You showed up way before that.
Way before that.
Right. And you cannot discredit somebody for something they've done.
No.
Thank you. Did I freeze?
A little bit. You good now.
Yeah. COVID exposed a lot of who collectively.
Right.
But yeah, and long enough timeline, people will show you who they are. And you got to go through adversity to know who you're dealing with, right? That's why they say, I think, you see people get in relationships, get married, 9 months, 12 months. Like, you haven't had any real adversity, and then you're like, oh, who is this?
Yeah, you gotta put people in pressure situations to see if they burst.
Yeah,
it's crazy because what they say is the saying like pressure bursts pipes or something like that. But doesn't it take pressure to make a diamond?
Make a diamond.
So
Correct.
like, which one are you in this situation? Are you gonna bust and show who you are? Or is this like the gym that I've been looking for my whole life? That's relationships. That's anything.
The real question is, are you born with that?
No.
We have the decision, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone, even knowing that, people listening to this podcast, even knowing that, will still fail when that situation comes for them to make that decision. That's the crazy part. They know better.
Yeah. I would say we're choosing to respond. It's a big humility effect with that. It's a big, ego. I got to let my ego go. When you're dealing with certain situations, and let's bring it back to social media, because now it's publicized. You can't always go through things at home. You got people that might hear about your stuff and want to post it. You got people, then you start talking. My situation is probably out there running around in people's mouths, which I really don't give a damn about because I'm focused on what I'm doing. But that's another thing that makes it harder to respond correctly, because now everybody knows. Now your ego's hurt. Now what do you do?
You know what helps me? I look at people bigger than me. I always look at the big athletes and politicians. This person's dealing with this. I'm like, you said you want to be great.
Yeah.
So welcome the adversity.
Right.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Right.
I was hoping something would happen soon. I was starting to think I was mediocre.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Smile.
Yeah. Through it all.
I'm like them dudes in 300 when they were waiting for the war.
Ready to fight.
And the dude was like he was looking out at all the people they had to fight. And he was smiling. The guy was like, why are you smiling? And he was like, I only hope somebody down there is willing to bring me the adversity that I hope for.
Yeah. He was like, it's crazy.
Okay.
I need to watch that again, bro. Them fools, they have you hyped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Let's
what they
go.
live for. Yeah, that's crazy. So let me ask you this: you mentioned if you're born that way or if it's something you learn, does your environment impact how you approach those situations?
1000%. What? Ooh. As you hear it, breathe it, see it every day, mainly hear it, right? Your household, then your community, your circle. Absolutely.
Your circle.
What's your circle about?
Your circle.
What's your circle? Do you have a circle?
Right.
You know, and hey, when adversity hits, that's when you find out if you have a circle or not.
Right. And I would say not only do you find out you have a circle, you find out who in your circle is for you. Because a lot of these people now like to side with what's comfortable
or popular,
and your circle should never be that. Like, I need to be able to rely on you to give me the real, no matter what the situation is. I don't care if I'm feeling 100% right, and you're like, nah, bro, I don't think you should make this move. That's just me, but you do what you do. I'm just letting you know I'm not comfortable with it. Put that button in somebody's ear. What?
No, I'm saying that you just got to say it.
I got to put it out there. Like, I'm just going to do this for you, and then you can make your move, and then guess what? I'll die with you if you got to die. Like, that's just how it is.
Right. And Pete, you got to make sure you have that circle. I'm like that with all my guys like that with me. Right. And it's no like, okay, hey, I get where you're coming from. Appreciate it. I'm still about to jump though. I'm just letting you know.
Right. 100%.
I appreciate you. Yeah.
100%. And so when you're responding to adversity and then you don't have the support, or the support that you put around you agrees with everything you're saying, you're not going to learn, and you're going to end up making yourself foolish along with those people. So like, hurt people get around hurt people, right? Champions like to be around champions. Winners like to be around winners. Losers like to be around losers. Why? Because they can all come together and they can kumbaya and they can say, you know, I understand why you responded that way. That's how I would have responded. And I agree with you. And that's a bunch of shit. Like, and it's because you've surrounded yourself with people that only agree with everything you say. So like, it's not now the response to adversity. You might even think it's right. It's correct because the people around you think like you do.
Of course. Absolutely. Republicans are friends with Republicans and comment on Republican posts to say whatever Republican things. Yep. See, I'm right. Look at all the people that everybody commented and said, and then you go to Democrat page and it's the same thing. And then when they do this, it's like, no, you wrong. It's all around the world. Religion, sports, everything.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And so I don't know why or where or when, I guess, I started to notice this, but again, like, well, obviously with what I just went through, but I want people to hear what I'm saying and hear this, what we're talking about. With you choose to respond to whatever's going on in your life. I'm not gonna any longer allow people to make excuses for how they respond to anything. Because of what I've been through, I don't want to hear it. That is your character flaw. That is your decision to make. I don't give a damn what happened to you. I don't care if you lost your job, your money's tight, your girlfriend left you, whatever you want to make up and tell me, you still choose to respond a certain way. I'm not letting people have that excuse. Like Martin Luther King was getting beat the hell up when they was protesting. He chose not to respond with violence. That was his choice. Other people weren't going to do that. That's their choice. That's okay. But there's no excuse for in between either way. Like, he did that because of how he felt. That was his character. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't give a damn what anybody says. You're choosing how to respond to stuff, bro. And you gonna stand on that. I'll just put it like that. When it comes to Julian and our interactions, you gonna stand on how you respond to things. There ain't no more excuses.
Yeah. I love it. I'm gonna start using that in my training videos too. with my athletes, really. You know, every athlete I have has some type of crazy adversity. You know, one person's going through something minor, the other person's going through something major. The person that's going through something, what I would deem minor, is like, I'm done. I'll come back next year. The other one's like, I ain't letting this stop me. I'm just letting you know this is what's happening, but this is the reason why I'm going to keep going.
Right.
So it is how you respond. I try to talk about that as much as I can.
Yeah, but I think that let me say, you respond well though to most things. So like you're coaching people in there, and we've talked about this, which is kind of ironic, but you've coached people who did not place the way that they want to, and how you respond to it ain't, man, I thought you had it. Man, I thought that it's like, okay, what's next? Like, okay, we didn't do this well, but hey, we can, you get back on a diet. We got a show in 2 or 3 weeks, another national show. You just got top 5. Let's keep it going. So that might be why I'm the way I am now, like being around you and understanding that. But it ain't no different than a bodybuilder who don't get the place and they won't, then they go and rant and rave.
We see that every week.
And we see that every week. That is your character. That's a character flaw you're displaying. That doesn't mean you can't fix it, but like, what was the point of you doing that when you could have easily respond, got your feedback, went to the gym and put your head down and just busted your ass?
Yep. And every people need to understand what you just said is every situation, not bodybuilding.
Right.
I just want to make sure everybody didn't miss that.
Right.
That wasn't about bodybuilding.
Right.
Yeah. We see it every day.
So what's
it
something?
Is how you respond.
Give me an example of when you feel like you responded wrong, and you feel like you responded correctly. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oof. I'll say in college, I would say I responded wrong. I was dealing with a lot, having to come home a lot. My grades were just going. I'm like, man, what does it matter? I just kind of threw my hands up in there. Like, I'm still going to school, but I was going to class sometimes. I was just kind of like, and it was because of what I was going through in my life that my daily, man, I was waking up, dude. I'm like, okay, no 8 o'clock classes this semester. Then I couldn't make the 9 o'clock classes. Next semester, I'm like, all right, no 9 o'clock classes. Then I was missing the 11 o'clock classes. Bro, and it got to, I'm not kidding you. Finally, one semester, my first class was at 12:30. And I was barely making those. And it was just like a slow decline. Like, it was a terrible response. Now, granted, I just wasn't prepared. I was immature. I was 20. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I was 20.
Right.
You can't always use age at a certain point in certain things, right? Because, of course, if that was me now, I'd be an AB student, right? Going through the same thing. I would say, man, even like during COVID, it was like everybody saw problems and all I saw was solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that through every economic like problem, people become very wealthy. Now, what you see is most people saying, oh, I'm losing money. I can't get a job. I can't do this. I can't do that. But what we don't always see is the people that are doing really well. And that's what I focused on. And that's what I surrounded myself with. So 2020 was amazing for me. Mm-hmm. It catapulted me. It was my best year. Every year was my best year, thinking that 2020 was going to be a down year, and it wasn't.
Right.
Right when I was like, okay, there's no way we can go up from here. Just, shows aren't happening. I think his first show wasn't until July. So I think I responded really well in 2020 to that adversity. And I think part of it was who I was surrounded with. I was in 2 masterminds last year. Mm-hmm. And just seeing people that were like running circles around me, honestly. They were. When I thought I was doing great, it gave me a perspective like, man. So I wasn't hearing oh, we can't do this. We can't COVID. There's these restrictions and problems. I wasn't hearing that. I knew it was there, but I had so much environment. That was my environment. People I'm talking to and seeing every day on social media, interacting with. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to attribute a lot of that to environment, where my mind was.
Right.
Damn, that was a good question.
Thank you. I do.
Because now thinking back to when I was 19, 20, I really can't. I'm not even gonna say I really had a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Being a college athlete, it was just like you just around the athletes, and then that was it. Go to the calf, go to practice, go to class, just hang around the room, like playing PlayStation, whatever. That wasn't, having a circle and being successful and focusing, and that wasn't anything I ever thought about. So it makes sense why I acted the way I did.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I almost failed out of school myself, so a lot of people don't really know that. But yeah, I almost failed out of school myself in response to my senior year basically being taken away from me on the court. I just like shut down. So like, one, it let me know that I had put way too much into being a basketball player. That was that was my identity. It was
right.
So, and I only realized this later in life, not as I'm in the moment, but I was ruled academically ineligible, not because of my grades, because I left another school, went to like a little community college, and they counted that as my extra year. So when I went to the school I was at, I played a full season. That next year, they, came up. We tried to fight it, tried to do everything we could. It didn't work out. So I went through like a whole off season. I stayed home. I stayed in my college town for the summer, working out with coach. I'm there when any recruit comes in, play against them. Like I'm that guy. And then 2 weeks before the season, you're not going to be able to play. So I was crushed. And you talk about not going to class at 12, I wasn't going to class at all. So that's the problem. Like I almost failed out my senior year. I almost didn't graduate. I just didn't care. Like I was, I'm gonna start partying now, messing with the chicks, whatever little chicks I had. Like I didn't care. That's how I responded. One, that wasn't me. Number one, that's never been my MO ever. Anybody didn't know me. So I was already living the lie. Number one, like not being myself. But I responded so terribly, I allowed myself to live that lie.
Right.
So that was my time where I was just like, that whole time period is the turning point for Julian Peters. Like a lot of people don't realize that. Like that was the turning point. Almost falling out of school, literally walking into my professor's office and just being like, yo, I know I'm not going to pass this final. Is there something you can help me do? I need a D and I graduate.
Dang.
Yeah, I had to go plead. Like I'm almost done. I need a D and I graduate. So you go from that to having to work through that. Then I'm in a master's program and everything changed. My mindset changed. My approach to things changed. How I responded to things changed, but I had to go through that to get there. But yeah, bro, it was not pretty. So I'm right there with you. It was not pretty.
Hey, that's what your 20s are for, though, right? that big stumble from 20. Excuse me.
You good? There we go. Phone difficulties, y'all. Give us a second.
But that big stumble, from 20 to 30, that's what that's for.
Right. Most definitely. Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. Another question, just thinking about it. When you're dealing with athletes that struggle with responding to diversity, God, hope not. When you're dealing with athletes who struggle to respond to adversity, what are some things that you try and do to kind of help guide them through that?
Give them perspective, man. Usually for me, what happens is it's not something I've never heard before. So I can usually connect them with somebody, with a like-minded individual, because I can talk as a coach and I can give them some perspective, and that's cool. Maybe that's one side of it, but I can always connect them with, okay, you're going through this, you're struggling with this. Now I can tell you this, but also reach out to so-and-so. And that's usually golden, because usually I don't know what it is. Hearing from a coach is cool, but when you hear from a complete stranger that's been through what you've already been through, it's something about it that holds more weight. Because sometimes they're like, oh, well, he's just a coach. He's giving me a hoorah motivation. Cool. But when you hear from that person that's been through the exact trenches or something close to what you've been through, and I'm like, and they're looking at you like, oh, well, you're here. I see you. Okay, you're somewhere where I aspire to be, but you're telling me you went through X, Y, Z. Oh, well, and let me brush this off because I'm tripping. This isn't what I thought it was. I was like, when you're stuck in that moment, it's hard for you to see beyond it. So that's that. I've been doing that a lot, man. That works really good.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So when do you, again, like when you're connecting people, to help them out of those situations as far as responding to adversity. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna word this. So the person that you're selecting, do they already know that there's a responsibility coming with that? Like, hey, this person's going through this. I think you guys will connect. Like, I think you might be able to help them. Or is that just like naturally a relationship you put together and they kind of go from there?
It depends on what it's about. If it's something really personal, I might just connect them and let it happen naturally. But if it's something that's very obvious, something simple, yeah, I'll be like, yo, man, just holler at him. He's looking to do what you did, or he's going through XYZ, or they're in the military, going through military issues, and maybe talk about how they can get through it, because that's a whole different other language. But yeah, that's usually what it is. Depends on the sensitivity of whatever that thing may be.
I got you. Okay, so I want to reiterate before we move on to the next topic. Keeping that same energy. Yeah. So when you choose to act a damn fool in how you respond to certain situations, I'm going to continue to make you guys stand on that this day moving forward. So I'm gonna give y'all like a couple weeks to listen to this. So what's today? The 11th of August. By September 11th, your limit is over with me as far as how you choose to respond to things. I think it's something that we need to take seriously. It's a responsibility that we should have. And I'm not excusing what happened to you for you acting the way you do. We're grown-ups. Like you wouldn't let a kid. It's crazy that we allow this, bro. You're a father. I'm not. You're not gonna let Chunk break a wall or punch something because he's angry and be like, oh, it's okay. You were angry.
No.
We don't teach that anywhere, but somewhere when we get older, that's accepted all of a sudden. You did wrong. This didn't happen. So we're going to act this way and it's okay. No, I'm not doing that anymore. Sorry.
Right. And I don't know if you want to get into this, but we allow it in certain sports and other sports we don't.
Yeah.
Like some sports, you could just walk up and punch somebody, let them fight it out. Okay, y'all go sit in timeout. But in the NBA, you're disgusting. You're a disgusting individual. You need to be out of here. And I just don't understand why it's accepted some places and others is not.
I'll tell you why, but we're going to be talking for a while.
Yeah.
I can tell you why.
That might be we might have to do a panel podcast on that one.
Yeah, that's a whole separate conversation about skin tones and a lot of other things that go into play, in my opinion. But yeah, it's very weird. Hockey, it's literally like loved. It's encouraged. Baseball, same thing. Like they have the brawls, it's on TV, commercial, ha 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 ha. But like a basketball player getting to a punt, honestly, bro, it wasn't that bad. I'm gonna tell you where I feel like it got really bad, because even growing up in the 90s, like I did, early 2000s, a little scuffle here and there was all right. It was
I know what you're gonna say.
In the damn palace when them Negroes ran up into Indiana, when they ran up
Meta World Peace.
Yes.
Yep. That's when it got out of hand.
That's when it got out of hand and all that changed, bro. When them fools ran in the stairs and they fighting the crowds, and that's what all that changed. Like a little scuffle every now and then was fine. When that happened,
knew you were gonna say. I agree. I agree.
Like, bro, they got a Netflix documentary coming out about that.
Yeah.
And Meta World Peace is on it. Like Steven Jack, they interviewed everybody. I'm gonna watch it because I can't wait. But I heard a story just to let you know how insane this man is. And this is off subject, but who cares? Afterwards, they were all in the locker room, and Meta World Peace, he's Ron Artest at this time, though, sitting down next to Steven Jackson. Steven Jackson said he was just sitting there, you know. He said Matt Turner looked at him and was like, "You think we're gonna get in trouble?" Bro, what? Yes. Y'all might go to jail, bro. Like, that's just how he thought. Like, he was just off, bro. But yeah.
I do. And that was when it's funny you said that because that stands out. The other ones don't stand out to me. Mm-mm. Not that I watch a lot of basketball, but that one just stood back then. I was in college, so I had SportsCenter on every day.
Right.
All day. But that one stands out to me because that was when I was like, well, wait a minute. Because after that, it was like a microscope was put on anybody in basketball who fought.
Right.
After that. Like, and I was like, well, but then y'all show that, and then at the hockey game, they're just like, why? Okay, go in timeout. Next, no problem.
But you know, I think another reason why it's like that, it just clicked in my head. There's not another professional sport where you're that close to the action. Think about it.
So you're saying like it's part of ticket sales?
No, I think it's a part of the safety. Because if you're scrapping,
basketball,
yes,
so close,
they're so close. So like, if you get in a fight in basketball and you're scrapping, you're a feet away from being in the stands with a fan. You don't know whose mom and dad or brothers in the stands that might run on the court. There's kids in there, and whereas in hockey, it's a rink. There's a big, like a big shield. Right. Football, you're not gonna get on the field like that. So maybe that's part of it.
Maybe, but I'm not even talking about fan safety. I'm talking about just the act of, oh, he's a thug. He likes to fight.
Well, we know
he has a problem.
Yeah, we know how that is.
I had to use the TH word.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know how that is. Like, basketball is predominantly black. It's a lot of dudes that came from nothing. Like, we know what that is. That's how that is.
Richard Sherman's a thug.
Yeah. Richard Sherman was the funny thing about Richard Sherman being a thug, he's probably smarter than like 95% of the people in the world, bro. Like,
got a master's from Stanford.
Yeah, undergrad and master's from Stanford, and like he's still a thug. You black with dreadlocks, you gonna get that. So, hey, look at me, I'm on my way. So my last topic is in regards to leadership skills. And the reason I'll explain to you guys why this conversation came up or why I thought about this. So I actually have a Devo that I've been reading, and sometimes I share it with Ryan. And in that Devo, it asks the question it asks you to ask people important to you, what are your best qualities as a leader, right? So I asked Ryan and my mom. So Ryan gave me his answer, my mom gave me his answer, and then Ryan returned did the same thing. So he asked his mom and me. And so I listed these qualities, and for some reason, the last thing I listed was believability. And it was like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, you never really hear people talk about that when they're talking about the great leaders, when they're talking about the great coaches, the believability, not just believability and here's the game plan, here's what I'm giving you, and people believe that this is what it's going to take to make them successful and win. It's a believability because you're influencing people and they can look at you and believe what you're saying. Now, is that something that's God-given, or is that something that you develop and learn? I don't know, honestly. But I do know when you really look at some of the great leaders, they had that about them. MLK had a believability about him. Malcolm X had a believability about him. Hitler has a believability about him. Trump had a believability about him. It's always a common thing with leaders if you really look at it, because people believe that person and they believe what they were preaching.
Right.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. Is that something you've ever thought about?
You know what? I really haven't. Not until you laid it out the way you just did. I think a lot of leadership qualities can be learned. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of that has to do with decision-making and confidence and walking in your purpose. Not everyone is meant to be a leader, first of all.
Right. 100%.
Right. So, I mean, I can think about myself and I look at like my demeanor and how calm I am. And I can say, I think I get that from my dad. Mm-hmm. like super, super calm. Like I've seen like crazy stuff happen, and look at my dad, and he's just like
Right.
straight faced.
Right.
And I'm like, and I see that in myself. So like people like, you look so unbothered. Like you look, what are you thinking? I don't know. Stoic.
Right.
And it's not, I don't do it on purpose. I'm like, I just stay calm.
Right.
I don't know. We watch not every quarterbacks get flustered.
Mm-hmm.
We keep talking about Mahomes, how he handled the
Super Bowl.
Yeah. And it's funny, as soon as I think about that, this is so crazy. I'm also thinking about when Michael Vick played in the national championship. He was a freshman, which I was impressed by, but I saw how he reacted when they started losing to Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get sacked and he'd thrown the ball, like threw it after he was tackled. I mean, he just had an attitude. I'm like, he's rattled. Dude's 19. I'm not judging him.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the biggest college football national stage. So, but I think sometimes people get put in places they're not ready to be, which is still dope. No one's faulting him. And I promise you, most people don't even remember that. I was in like 7th grade.
Right.
But it stuck out to me.
Right.
Just at 12 years old. And so that's why, Mahomes, how he handled that. Like that will always, the dude lost so amazingly.
Yeah. Right.
And the dude, these cameras are up so close. I mean, if you flinch, the whole world sees it.
Right.
The dude did not flinch the whole game. He never got flustered. He led, but those people, and that's where that believability comes through.
Right.
Because now, if the game starts going one way, I'm gonna start thinking, oh shit, our leader's about to get pissed.
Right.
He's about to get thrown off his game. If
right.
we don't get this 3rd down, it's a wrap because he's gonna be checked out.
Right.
So this goes back to the last podcast when I was talking about how important it is that I stay calm and I operate with my head and not my emotions.
Right.
Where people are like, you know what? I trust him because he's not going to make an emotional decision and do something stupid.
Right.
That's what flustered people do. They react off emotion.
Right.
So that's why I say leadership isn't for everybody. Can that be learned? I think it can be learned to control your emotions. I guess. I don't know the science behind that. Because everyone has felt emotional before, right? You could talk about crying. You can try to hold in. Hold that in.
I don't think you can control your emotions because emotions are happen. I think you can control your response to the emotion.
Right. You're right.
I can't control whether or not I'm tearing up because I watched the movie. I can control if I bust out in tears and cry, or I just try to like cover it up like this and keep it moving. So like emotions, I don't think you can control emotions. I know people want to think that. I don't think that's possible. You can control how you respond to them.
Yeah. And maybe, I guess what I'm saying is how long you're emotional for.
Yeah.
Right. So now I'm thinking about something Gary Vee always talked about, because he's always posting these positive, great videos every day, all this energy. And they're like, you look like you never had a bad day. And he's like, of course. I get bad news. I have bad days. And he was like, I'm telling you, the worst news I'll ever get, it might mess up half of my day. And I move on. So think about the worst news that you can get. But think about what his plate, right? He can't check out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months.
First of all, why did you sound so much like him at the beginning? Bad. Like, he's like, of course. You sound just like him, bro.
I don't even follow Gary Vee. I hadn't followed him in well over a year.
Right.
I just love the guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he was just saying, literally, it could be a moment, feel it, and move on. Now, that's probably something to practice. Will people practice that? I don't know. I think I'm just gonna say I was blessed with kind of being raised by my father, who's just mild-mannered like that.
Right.
Not everybody's raised around mild-mannered people.
No, but okay, so I was, though. That's the crazy part, and I'm not mild-mannered. My mom is very mild-mannered, like, don't respond. Okay. And I am definitely not that. I think I'm growing into that a little bit more the older I get, just understanding more how important it is, the energy that you're giving out. But yeah, I'm totally opposite of my mom in that regard. So I think that might just be something within you. Yeah, you probably seen it in your father, but that's something within you. Could it be learned? Yeah, I think so. Like, not to jump, so to speak, or not to like react. But for me, I'm 32 and still learning.
Right.
Because I don't do that. So yeah. Now, another thing about believability, you, coach, you're a two-time Olympian. You've had success in the sport. People come to you because they've seen your success as a competitor and now they see yourself as a coach. That's believability. Now, the responsibility of having that believability is you actually have to be good at what you do. Because that example I just gave of you, there's other people, they don't have all the pro cards that you got. We're not even going to act like they do. But there's other people who have been on the Olympia stage and coach, and they suck at what they do.
True.
So there's a responsibility with the believability that you have to show up and do it. And I think that's why it's such an important thing that what I'm trying to get at is like, I don't know if having believability is something that you can do or learn. I think it just comes with the responsibility of being a great leader, not just a leader, because not everybody is an elite leader. There's some good leaders out there that might not have the believability, but they work their tail off, so they're able to lead that way. And it's some people that just walk in a room and it's there. Like, you're one of those people. You probably didn't realize that, but you're one of those people. I've been told I'm one of them people that you just walk in areas, or whenever you're in a group, somehow you're always the one everybody follows. Whenever there's a group project or something like that, like I remember literally getting a new job and we're doing our training, and one day I just wasn't feeling it. I was quiet. Our instructor literally pulled me to the side at lunch. I was like, hey, like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just tired. She's like, okay, because the momentum of the class is kind of down if you're down.
And you didn't even know.
Had no clue. So she's like, if you're not upbeat and you're not laughing like you normally are, and, you know, asking questions, a lot of other people won't. They're following your energy. I'm like, well, first of all, that sucks because I didn't ask for that. But second, like, but you know what I mean? Like, but that's just, it's the believability part. So that's why I keep going back. Is that something you learn, or do you think it's just something within a person?
I think it just comes with, like you said, leadership. And everybody has a purpose and everybody has a role. Finding that role is what's important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that believability will follow what your purpose is.
But like, it's in everything. We just haven't put it in leadership. Rappers. Like, once your believability is gone in rap, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, and I watch battle rap. One of the things that like they consider an attribute is your believability, your conviction. So like, right, if I get on stage and I'm like, I got pistols, I'm selling dope, like people are gonna be like, what? Like, no. But if another guy does it, they automatically, it enhances his impact on that round because they really believe that this Negro was like on the street slanging, punching, knocking people out. Like, they really see that and believe it. So it gives a person a visual, or they can really understand because they think, okay, he really did that. So yeah, it's just weird to me, bro. Like, maybe it's another word for it, but like for me, believability might be something that a lot of people need to pay attention to when it comes to being a leader, because I think that gets you a lot of places in your leadership role.
Yeah, we just got to be careful with that social media believability.
Yes,
because it ends up being it's just a popularity contest.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm understand. I used to be the guy, bro, who was like, I don't think social media is that big of a deal. Like, I'm completely changing that now. Social media has caused a lot of misinformation, a lot of misconception, and a lot of misperception, if that's the right word, or the wrong perceptions about people that we consider leaders, because it's the perfect place to create a facade.
Facts.
It's a perfect place to not be who you are, not be real. I tell people this all the time, like, oh my God, like, first of all, it used to make me mad. going through a divorce. Like, I don't understand how you're doing it so well. Like, you're not crushed, you're not hurt. Like, why do I have to be that? Number one. But yeah, I was hurt and crushed. Y'all didn't need to sit out on social media. Why?
Right.
Like, there was no need for that. So I put out what I wanted to put out and controlled that. I think people have lost control of themselves when it comes to social media.
Facts.
So
they have.
Now, like you said, you can question a person's believability, you can question a person's leadership, and it'll take off in social media because we're a fake news now. We're fake. It's whatever's hot. Jump on that train. We're not going to get any side of any story. We're just going to believe what we saw first.
Yep. It reminds me of, you seen that clip of Denzel. He was talking to the media, and he was just like, doesn't matter. Just y'all put anything out. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. Who's going to say it first?
Right.
You know? And it was a very powerful video. He's right.
Yeah 100%. And so
then they'll come back. People will come back and be like, oh, 24 hours later, 36 hours later, or a couple weeks later, it happens in research too,
Now, you know what? Let's go ahead and add another topic before we end this. Seeing things objectively, because that's one of the things you mentioned for me. Why is that important?
Because it's the world we live in, and people don't understand that everyone has an opinion and everyone has a view. And if me and you can sit and watch the same movie, I'm sitting here, you're sitting there, you're going to see it differently. It doesn't matter. I'm like, no, there's no way.
Right.
It's on this side. And you're saying, no, it's on this side. We're both right. But I can only see it from over here. You see what I think it was Prince William, a picture he's getting out of the car, and it was talking about perception, and it looks like he's like flipping the camera off.
Yeah.
And it showed two different angles.
Yep.
But he really wasn't flipping somebody off. And, I think about that all the time, and people will just see that one and be like, that's it. That's important because it's real. It's really real. And it's true in politics, media, all the news, TV, and all that stuff. Like, I don't know why. This is what people don't understand is that if you're in leadership, you got to see things objectively.
Facts.
You have to.
Facts.
And if not, you'll never reach to the level that you want to, because you can't impact masses that way. You cannot. You'll impact one side. Right.
I mean, so I'm gonna do this right now. So this is one of my favorite drinks, by the way, y'all. Ain't no plug. What does that say?
0 sugar.
Damn, it says 0 calories on my side.
Nah, it says 0 sugar. That's all I see.
You're wrong. Like, it says 0. Now what does it say?
0 calories.
Now I see 0 sugar.
Whoa. Right. Now I see it your way.
Now, but that is the best example I could give of objective viewing, of seeing something objectively. It's like you got so many people who they only get one side, and that's the right side, and they never want to just take a turn so you can see the other side of things. But we're a response quick nation now. With social media, it's response quick. And so, like, now what I'm learning in these situations that were going on, in my life and within my people's lives is, you know what? I'm going to start sitting back a little bit. I'm going to let y'all get all that little BS, everything you want to get out. Go ahead and get it out. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to sit back like this. I might do like this. I might grab a drink. I want y'all to see I'm relaxed. Yeah, you putting all this pressure on me, but there's always another side to what's going on that I'm getting ready to show you guys. The ones that, and what's crazy is the ones that don't see objectively are so damn embarrassed when the real truth comes out, or they're so, that they will either not accept it and keep with what they were going, knowing that they're being ignorant and foolish because their pride is so hurt, they're just going to keep going what they do, or they got to come and crawl on their legs and be like, I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I see what's going on. That's seeing objectively to me. I will never, ever again jump on top of something. And I want people to hear this. Like that even goes for if you see a cop in an interaction with somebody, let's get full stories before we just start throwing out. It was a cop being terrible. It was because he was black. We have decided to not see things this way, I feel like, and it's starting to really affect our nation really bad. Social media is probably the biggest vessel and why it's the way it is.
It's been a while now, man. I probably haven't watched the news in 10 months. I don't know when this happened. When did that happen where that girl was going to stab the girl and the cop shot her? She was 16 years old.
Oh, that wasn't that long ago, bro. That was like
that was this year
ago. Yeah, that was this year.
3 months ago, man.
3 or 4. I promise you, bro. It was before I got to Arizona, and it wasn't that long before.
But yeah, now I view things objectively, so I didn't react and respond. Someone sent me the article, and so of course the article was like, boom, 16-year-old shot by a cop. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this uproar because it happened during the day. So there's uproar overnight.
Yeah.
And all these people are saying this. And then the next morning, the video comes out.
Right.
And they're like, oh.
Right.
She was about to kill her.
Right.
Or could have.
Right.
So, and then it ends up not even being about the young lady that just lost her life and the girl that just had her life saved. Now it's about, hey, you were wrong. Look how you reacted and see, this is what's wrong. And it ends up like we just forgot that we still have an issue.
Right.
That's a whole nother podcast, man.
It's the truth though, man. I saw one recently where the guy had his live on Facebook Live, and the cop is in the back, and the cop throws like something in his car, and he's like, "What did you throw in my car?" Da 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 da. And the cop is super calm. He was like, "Yeah, it was like a piece of pie." He's like, "No, you trying to put something on me?" And he was like, "I got you on camera." And the cop was like, "I have a body camera on, like right now. They see everything I'm doing." He was like, "It was something that was in your car that like we picked up and then we just threw it back in your car." But the dude was trying to say that he planned it. So of course he posted it and everybody went crazy. I haven't heard nothing else about that story in a week. I wonder why.
Right.
I wonder why. But it's just, and it's crazy too, because, and you'll probably agree with this, when you're black, you can't really see objectively in these situations.
Right.
You're a sellout, you're a traitor, you're all these things, instead of just like, let me have time to process what's going on, and let's get full stories before we just make decisions.
At least that's fair.
Right.
At least that's fair.
Yeah. I will say this, for the people that decide to do that, you need to communicate that though too. A lot of people will just come out and say, like, instead of being like, you know what, I'm going to process this first. I want to see all angles inside of the story before I make a decision. It's like, you want to play devil's advocate immediately. People don't want that. Like, and you don't need to be that person. Either sit down and chill or just be like, yo, I'm going to wait till we get all sides before I make any type of statement or anything like that moving forward.
Facts. Yeah, it does need to be communicated.
So, and you do that well. That's the crazy part. Like, again, that's part of what you've influenced me, because, like, you know me, I'm ready to go at all times, where you be like, wait, man, like, I need to get some information, or you'll come to me and be like, yo, what does this mean? Or something like that, before you just go off on a tangent.
Right.
Or saying,
yeah, you hit me up like, yo, look at this. Am I tripping?
Yeah.
And I'll, yes or no. And hey, same, my mentor too.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm pretty confident that I'm seeing things objectively, and I'm like, and then he hits me with something, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, he got that. All right.
For sure.
Yeah.
But all right, y'all, we're going to end it there due to the fact that we can probably talk to y'all for another 2 hours. Anything you got to say, man, to close it out?
No, man, just
you look
thanks
like
for
you
having
in
me,
shape
bro.
a little bit, bro. You getting ready for something? Well, arms kind of poking out.
I ain't done nothing in a minute, dog.
Apparently, you watch how I do this. Apparently, you already has been. So whenever you want to, like, get ready that time is ready because apparently you are a has been. So whatever,
Right.
need to come back. You might as well go
Any
ahead and
moment,
do it.
man. Honestly, man, I'll get in shape first just to feel good, and if I want to go out and have fun, I'll do that. But till then, I'm just enjoying life, man.
Yeah, like show what's been going on since you like started actually making it serious. I feel you, bro. I feel you. So for all those that are listening, thank you for listening. For all those that you're watching, you got to see two beautiful black men in your face this whole time. Well, one and my co Ryan, one beautiful black guy, the other guy. But yeah, other than that, y'all have a great day. We appreciate y'all listening. Peace out.